everyone. Today we are going to be doing another Sheglam collection unboxing. It has been a while since I have done one. There were a couple collections I skipped over. There were a couple that were not available to me for a while. And there was one that came out that I was dead set on getting. And all of the tariff mess really kind of messed a lot of things up. So I thought for the longest time that I was never going to be able to get this collection, but finally it did come back to the Sheglam website and to the Shein website. So I am very glad to announce to you guys that today we are going to be reviewing the Wizard of Oz collection from Sheglam. I am a huge Wizard of Oz fan, Wicked fan, everything related to it. So whenever I saw that they came out with this, I thought I had to get my hands on it. I did have a little prediction last year whenever like the Wicked movie was coming out. I was saying like, I really want Sheglam to do like a Wicked collection. And even though this isn't Wicked, this is obviously what inspired Wicked, and it is the Wizard of Oz, which I am also a very big fan of. So I did purchase mine from Shein's website, but you can also get it from Sheglam. Now stay tuned because I will be kind of going over all of the pricing for everything. I do have to admit the pricing is all over the place with this collection. When I was sitting down doing the math for everything, I was like, okay, this is kind of weird. So definitely stay tuned for all of that. I probably will have that more towards the end of the video, but if you want to know all of the details, I will have those towards the end. So starting off, of course, I love a lot of Sheglam's collections because they do a really good job at creating a fun kind of like collection box style packaging for a relatively affordable price. So this is what the package looks like. I always love when they do a really like beautiful box because I do save all the packaging for like display purposes, and this is really pretty. So it kind of just has like a layered scene here with Dorothy, the Tin Man, the Scarecrow, and the Cowardly Lion. Then you can see the Yellow Brick Road, the Field of Poppies heading towards Emerald City. So I think it's really pretty, and I like how it kind of has that depth on there. And then when we open it up, it's kind of like a storybook style. It looks like this. So over here on this side, it says Surrender Dorothy. And then of course we have the ruby slippers and the Wicked Witch of the East here. And then on this side, we have all of the products here. So in this collection, we have the eyeshadow palette. We have the ruby glitter lip set. We have the blotting sheets. We have the blush, we have the highlighter, we have two eyeliners as well. And of course we have it all set against the Yellow Brick Road, so I think that it just looks so cute, so pretty, and I love the packaging of this collection. I would love if Sheglam did do a true Wicked collection too. I would be so excited to see that if they did that, fingers crossed, but I think that since they did the Wizard of Oz, I don't think we're actually gonna get a true Wicked collection, but I will gladly bite my tongue if they actually did make that happen with the second movie coming out later this year. All right, so really quickly, I did get mine from the Shein website, and the price that I paid for the set, I feel like, I don't know what was going on, but I feel like I kind of overpaid for this one. So after tax and everything that I paid for this one, it was $85.70. I definitely think that's a little bit more up there as far as a lot of the Sheglam collections I have purchased before. So I will say that the price has kind of come down just a few dollars since I purchased it, but I will get more into that later. So I will mention that you can buy all of these items from Shein's website or from Sheglam's website. Now the prices do vary slightly per item. Usually I find that the prices on Sheglam's website tend to be a few dollars more than the price on the Shein website. However, there was a weird kind of hiccup on this one where some of the items, the prices are all over the place, honestly. So on Shein's website, I actually noticed there were two different listings for the same exact collection. One of them was priced about $78.11, and the other one was priced $80.96. So I did find two listings from the same seller from Sheglam for two different prices. So I'm not sure what's going on with that. And like I said, usually Shein has the lower prices. However, if you get the full set from the Sheglam website, the full price was $69.99. So let's go ahead and get into all of the products in this collection. I will definitely let you guys know what I think of all of them and how they apply for me. So the first product we have here is called the Heart Clock Dewy Blush. You can get this from Shein for $5.19 or you can get it from Sheglam for $5.99. So let's go ahead and apply. So first things first, packaging wise, this reminds me a lot of their regular heart-shaped blushes that they already have in the Sheglam line. So this one's just kind of like a little bit of a special version of those. I do love that it has like the little keychain on it because it really does look like the little heart that the lion gets in The Wizard of Oz. So I think packaging wise that is so cute. And they call this the Heart Clock Dewy Blush. And this one, when I open it up, it looks like this. It has a mirror inside and then there is the blush here, which is a bit of like a reddy watermelon-y kind of color. So now before I apply it, I actually want to do a little bit of a swatch with my finger so I can kind of get an idea of how pigmented this is. So when I first touch into it, it's very thin, very glossy, kind of like a lip gloss in a pot kind of formula. It's definitely very like dewy and glossy, not so much like a heavy thick cream. So if I swatch that here, there's definitely some transparentness to it. And then if I blend it in, it gives you a very soft, kind of transparent, watercolory kind of finish to the skin. You can definitely see through it. It's not like a thick, heavy cream. So I think that this could work for very fair skin tones because it's not as crazy intense as you might think it is. But I definitely want to see like how much we can build this up as well. So I'm going to zoom you guys in so you can see a little bit better. All right, so here is a closer look at the blush up close. So I'm going to go ahead and apply this with my favorite kabuki style brush. So I'm going to pick up some of that there and I'm going to start on this side, and I like to do this in a stippling kind of motion. I find that it gives me the most control and it helps with not like putting too much product on one area of the cheek. I actually quite like this on the skin. I think that it really actually does kind of give a lot more color than what I was expecting just from that very first application. Of course, you can shear it out and stipple it more if you want more of like a softer, kind of gentler whisper of color. So for me right now, I think this is actually a really good amount of product. So this is the side with and the side without. So if you just want like a light little bit of color, that one actually showed up quite well for me. But let's do a little bit more. I do want to see how much we can kind of build this up because I know a lot of people want to know how does this work for medium to deeper skin tones. This definitely is building up quite nicely. I kind of think that this type of color, at least on my skin tone, it gives me that kind of cutesy sunburn look, but I mean that in a good way. I think it like just gives you that really rosy kind of flush. Now, if you want to go like the full sunburn look, I think you can totally achieve that with this tone of blush. But I also think it just kind of gives a really nice kind of flush to the skin as well. I definitely think for me, I like applying this with this type of brush. You could also apply this with your fingers, but that's just not my preferred method. All right, so this is how the blush looks on me. I really like this one. I think it's a really good formula, and I think it's very similar to their regular heart-shaped blushes. So I'm pretty sure this is just like a shade extension from that, but then it is, you know, slightly different packaging to match the theme of the collection. But I do quite like this blush. I think it looks very pretty. It's definitely one I can see myself using, and I do think it is best suited for light to medium skin tone. I think that it could show up on maybe like the lighter of the deeper skin tones, but I just don't know how it will show up on very, very deep skin. But it did build up quite nicely, and I feel like you could layer this and get a more intense look if that's what you're going for. Next up, we have the highlighter. This one is called the Medal of Courage highlighter. You can get this one from Shein for $5.49, or you can get it from Sheglam for $6.99. So let's go ahead and apply. And then for the highlighter, I think this is so pretty. I really love the packaging of this. This is one of those like swivel style kind of packagings, which I'm not gonna lie, the swivel part's not my favorite, but I can overlook it. And then this is what the highlighter looks like. It's just a soft, goldeny, buttery type of highlighter color. I feel like this one is a pretty good universal color for most people. And of course I love the impression in here. It is like the little cross and it has a banner that says courage, very much like the art on the packaging here. This one does look to be a little bit of a shimmery kind of style highlighter, so let's go ahead and apply. I'm going to apply it with a large fluffier brush like this. I'm going to pick up just a little bit at a time just to kind of see what this gives us, and I'm going to buff it onto my cheekbones. Alright, so this is the first application. I went super light-handed with it. I do think I want to build it up just a little bit more so you can really kind of see that glow. Oh yeah, you can definitely see that now. So here is the side without, and here is the side with. Now I will say this is definitely one of those highlighters that will emphasize texture on your skin a little bit, but it's not the worst that I've seen. I actually find this is pretty comparable with most of the highlighters that I have gotten in other Sheglam collections. I feel like honestly there's nothing that special with this one that sets it like aside or, you know, really stands out from other highlighters from Flower Nose, but of course if the branding and the packaging and the theming is really what you're after, I think it is a pretty good highlighter. I just don't think it's anything like crazy unique, but it is a good one. I really think it does give you that really pretty soft kind of glow from within, and of course if you want to really pile it on, you can get that really intense kind of glowy look from Space. Alright, and so this is what the highlighter looks. I kind of overdid it just a little bit today to really show off the product, but I do think this is a really decent type of highlighter. Nothing that like crazy unique and special from any other highlighters you might have, but I do think it's a pretty good one, especially for the price. Next we have the No Place Like Home palette. You can get this from Shein for $7.59 or you can get it from Sheglam for $7.99. So let's go ahead and apply. So here is an up close of the eyeshadow palette, very small petite palette. You do not have a mirror in this one, and you have 8 shadows here. And then as far as the mattes, there are 3 different mattes. There is this cream matte here, there's a dark chocolatey brown here, and then a matte red rust color here. And all the rest of these are a shimmer formula shadow. So as always, I'm going to start off my look by applying an eyeshadow primer to the lid. Alright, and then starting off, I'm actually going to take this dark matte brown color here, and I'm going to pick that up on a small blending brush. And I'm going to start by applying this to the crease, and I'm going to blend that and soften those edges. Now with a clean brush, I'm just going to soften these edges with nothing on the brush. And then I'm going to take that light matte cream color and just lightly brush that over the edges where that brown shadow is, just to keep it a little bit softer. Then taking that same dark matte brown, I'm going to pick that up with a pencil brush. I'm going to run this on the lower lash line on the outer half. Then I'm going to take a tacky eyeshadow primer and I'm going to apply this just to the center of my lid. You guys know this is my favorite trick for hooded lids. It just kind of keeps the shimmers in place a little bit better and just gives your shimmer shadows just a little extra something to stick to, and just really gives you the best performance. Next up, I'm really feeling this pretty kind of pink shimmer shade here. So I'm actually gonna pick this up with my finger and I'm going to press it right onto the center of my lid where I put that sticky primer. Next up, I want to use this color here. It's a little bit of like a soft bronze kind of silver color almost. I'm going to pick that one up with a shader brush, and I'm going to apply this on the lower lash line towards the inner portion of my lid. It just has a very soft, kind of like a silvery copper kind of color. Then next up for the inner corner, I want to use this soft, kind of silvery, almost like a baby blue silver color, very Tin Man-esque. So once again, I'm going to pick that up with the same brush, and I'm going to apply this to the inner corner as a highlight. It's just going to bring a lot more light to that inner portion of my lid and really kind of open up my eye. So the only 3 colors that I didn't use is the green, this blue, and then this rusty red, but I will do full swatches so you guys can see what all of these colors look like shortly. Next up we have the eyeliners. We have the Glinda the Good eyeliner and we have the Wicked Witch of the West eyeliner. If you get these from Shein, the Glinda is $4.39 and the Wicked Witch is $4.79, or you can get them from Sheglam for $5.99 each. I do want to try to use both of these colors. I'm not sure how it's going to turn out, but we're gonna give it a go. So first off, for like the Glinda color here, This one is a very light kind of pearly pink type of liner. Now I'm gonna actually give this a really good shake because that first swatch was basically invisible. You really can't see very much at all. So I think I just need to shake this up really good. All right, let's try this one again. Okay, once again, I'm not really getting much color. I don't know if you can see this at all. It's just really not showing up at all. And I've actually had another product that is very similar to this. That was by Flower Nose, and it was the same thing. It was like a pink pearly liquid like liner type product, and it did not perform very well, and I feel like this is giving me flashbacks to that. Yeah, I'm not impressed with that at all. It like is barely noticeable on my skin at all. I don't really think this is gonna do much, but we're gonna try to do this like maybe on the lower lash line or something, but don't have high hopes for this, you guys. And I also think like it's not gonna show up very much at all because I do have the shadow already on my lower lash line, so I don't really think this is going to necessarily do much. Yeah, to be fair, I mean, it's hard to see what this does on my lash line anyway with the shadow already there, but honestly, just from swatching it on my hand and seeing how like near invisible this is, I'm not a fan of this one, unfortunately. But we also have the Wicked Witch one. Hopefully this one's a little bit better. Let's give this one a really good shake. All right, I do have higher hopes for the black. Let's see how this one swatches. Let me find a good spot to swatch it. We'll do it right here. Ooh, okay, that actually looks pretty good. So definitely think the black one's gonna be a bit better than the pink one. So I'm gonna go ahead and line my top lash line. All right, so far so good. All right, so far I think that was pretty good. All right, so as far as the black liquid liner, this one I like so much more. This one is a pretty good one. It is a little bit on like the, it's not a glossy black, but it has a little bit more of like a satin to it. I definitely like the black one. Once again, it's nothing that special, but if you really like the branding of it, I do think this is a good black liquid liner for the like application standpoint. Now I'm not sure how good the longevity of it is, but as far as like the product itself, I do think this one is way better than the pink one here. I don't think I'd recommend this one. So I'm gonna go ahead, finish off my lashes and mascara, and we're gonna come back with the last few products. Next we have the If I Only Had a Brain Oil Blotting Sheets. You can get this from Shein for $1.99, or you can get it from Sheglam for $3.99. So let's go ahead and try these out. So these are supposed to be like for the scarecrow, I guess, and they look like this. And then this is what each of the individual little blotter sheets look like. They are kind of like a soft golden kind of color. Now, I don't have oily skin, so I'm definitely not the best at judging this, but let's see if I can blot any oil off my face. I mean, honestly, I'm not really getting that much. Like I said, I do not have oily skin, so I'm not the best judge for this. So I definitely don't think I personally will get a whole lot of use out of these, but they are really cute and I like the packaging of them. And of course, like, they came in the set, but this is definitely an item that I would not have picked out for myself if I was buying individual products and I was just purely like excluding the theming of the product. I definitely would have skipped on this one. Next, we have the Click Your Heels lip gloss. This one I could not find on Shein at the moment, but you can get it for $5.99 at Sheglam. We're gonna try on the lip gloss first, mainly because I think this is just going to be the easier product to try on. So let's go ahead and see what this one looks like. I'm not expecting much from this one because it is just like a tinted lip gloss. So I do like the applicator though. It has like that little clear applicator tip and makes it easier for spreading on. So let's go ahead and apply. And I'm not doing like a lip liner or anything because I'm just gonna wipe this off in just a minute. But we can see like how much color comes off. It's pretty much clear with like the itty bittiest tiniest bit of like a red tint to it. But for the most part, I would say it is just pretty much a clear lip gloss. And it's honestly not even as sparkly as I would have thought it would have been. I'm actually not picking up on any sparkles at all. Okay, there are like microscopic nano shimmer particles is what I would call it. Not glitter, not really sparkles, but I mean just like a nano shimmer. I mean, unless you're really up on your lips looking at it, it's really not that perceivable. So even though I think this is really cute, I just think like Product wise, it's kind of boring. It does have a little bit of like a scent or a taste to it. I can't really like perceive what it is though, but let me do like a little swatch of the lip gloss here. So this is what it looks like, kind of like really saturated on the skin, but of course on the lips, pretty much a clear lip gloss. So honestly, I think the idea of this lip product is cute, but not necessarily like my favorite. So honestly, like the little charm is like my favorite part of this product. So I don't know how I feel about this one. This one's a little bit of like a take it or leave it product for me. It does feel nice on the lips. It's a little bit of a thicker kind of lip gloss. It's not like a super thin lip oil. Like it definitely, to me, feels like a sticky, tackier lip gloss. If I was like outside on a windy day, my hair would definitely be sticking to my lips. So if that's not something you're into, you might want to skip on that one. But I do think it feels pretty comfortable on the lips though. And we have the Ruby Slippers Glitter Lip Kit. You can get this from Shein for $5.25, or you can get it from Sheglam for $8.99. I am honestly not that excited about this lip product because I have tried this system before in the past. So basically what this is, they call this the Ruby Slippers Glitter Lip Kit. Now, I have actually tried the same product in a different color before from the Sheglam Advent Calendar from 2024. And basically what this is, it is a lip liner product. Then there is like this really sticky tacky, like gluey lip gloss. And then you have a little pot of powder shimmer glitter type of product to give you that glitter lip look. I will try it on and put it on for you guys so you can see what the product's like. I will say already though, I know that this is not a product that I personally enjoy, not one that I would have purchased. And aside from maybe like a cute little photo moment kind of thing, this is definitely not something that I would ever wear out in the real world. But in the spirit of trying out all of these products, I'm definitely going to give them a go for you guys. I do think the packaging of these are super, super cute. I just kind of wish these were a different product. All right, so I've got you zoomed in so you can definitely see all the details. So this is the lip liner. I actually think this is really pretty and I like the packaging of it. It's very, very cute. I don't know if this has an individual name or not. Let me look at the box. No, it does not look like they actually named the individual items. So this is just the lip liner. And this looks like it is a dark red ruby color. So let's go ahead and apply it to the lips. Okay, I actually kind of like this tone of red. I thought it was going to be just like a straight like fire engine red. It is a little bit more of like a brownie brick red, which I kind of like a lot more. Okay, please excuse the application. It is not perfect, but this is what it looks like as a lip liner. Now I will be filling in my lips to kind of like give this the best overall look. And I just can't unsee how crooked my lip shape is right now. This isn't going to be perfect because I am going to be wiping it off, but this is what it looks like as a lip liner. This is what it looks like kind of filled in all the way if you were to just use this as a regular lip product. All right, and then we have this really sticky like lip product here. This I do not like. I'm going to just like apply this to the back of my hand because I know that if I apply it directly to my lips, it's just going to get this applicator all gross. And I don't know, I just don't want to do that. So I applied that to the back of my hand and I'm going to pick that up on my finger and apply it to the lips. And this one did not come with a little like eyeshadow brush to apply this, so I'm just going to do this with my finger. I'm trying to like not stick my lips together. And then this is the actual glitter product. It has such a pretty cap with the little ruby slippers. I should have talked about this before if I had the sticky lip gloss on. All right, and this is the glitter. All right, and this is what the glittery lip look looks like. I definitely think it looks really pretty. It is not very comfortable though on my lips. It kind of feels like I just put like eyelash glue all over my lips. And then I have these little bit of like really fine, grainy bits of sand on my lips. It's definitely not like the most uncomfortable lip product ever, but I mean, it definitely does have a very grainy kind of feeling to your lips, and I would not want to like eat or drink with this type of product on my mouth. And this is what it looks like from a distance. I don't know how noticeable it is or isn't, but this is what it looks like on my lips. So overall, my thoughts on this little like lip trio set. Like I said, I do have another like version of this in a different color, and I did not enjoy that one either. And it's just something that I feel like is really not like a practical product. Like I think for the theme, it obviously like fit the collection very well, so I see why they did this, but I do have to say I'm not a big fan of this as a product in the end. Also just realized I made a huge mess on my desk. So unfortunately for me, I definitely don't think that this product is for me. Now, the only thing that I do like is, of course, I can use the lip liner, and I don't really have a lot of red lip liners, so it's kind of nice to have another one in my collection. Now, I don't actually wear red lipstick too often, but if I wanted to wear one, this is a really good, like, nice kind of deeper red type of lip liner. So that is the kind of like takeaway for this product for me, is at least this is usable, but honestly, these two products aren't necessarily my favorite, and I don't really see myself using these unless it were, like I mentioned before, like just for a cute little picture or like a video kind of moment, or maybe like a little costumey kind of thing. But like, would I actually like wear this for an extended period of time? Absolutely not. All right, so some of my final thoughts on all these products, like a quick little rundown. What would I recommend? What would I not recommend? I do have to say, starting off with the blush, I do think it was a really good product. I enjoyed that one. I can totally see myself using that on just like a regular makeup day if I just want to pull something out to do something a little different. I definitely really like that product, and I think it's a good one. So I definitely give a thumbs up to the blush product. I also would give a thumbs up to the highlighter. I thought it worked pretty well. I don't think it's anything that special, but I do think the product itself worked well. Once again, it's something I would use on just like a random day, and I think that it performed pretty well. And also for the price, I think it was a pretty good product. So I will also give that one a thumbs up. For the eyeshadow palette, I will say I kind of wanted more from the palette. I feel like for me personally, I like when the palette is kind of like the star item of a collection. And I feel like for me, with this being such a small palette and not a whole lot going on, I was a little bit let down by this. I think the quality of the shadows that I tried were very on par with a lot of Sheglam eyeshadow palettes, so I think quality-wise it's right in line with all of that. I just honestly would have liked to have seen more of like the eyeshadow palette being the star, because it is just such a small palette. You don't have a mirror, the colors aren't named, there's not really like... When I see these colors, I see like, oh, I see where that color came from and where that fits into the theme, but I just don't really feel that inspired by this eyeshadow palette. I mean, some people I'm sure will really like and appreciate it, that it's such a really small kind of palette, really compact, so I do appreciate it for that reason. But I think in my mind, if I were the one who had a hand in designing this collection, I definitely would have made the eyeshadow palette just a little bit bigger, nothing huge, just a little bit bigger, a little bit more well thought out, and like naming the colors and having like a really pretty packaging design. I feel like this is cute, but it just, I don't know, it just falls short for me, unfortunately. So I just, in my opinion, would have liked to seen just a little bit more going on with this product, because it honestly just kind of feels like a little, I don't know, it just feels equal to all the other products, and I would have just liked this to stand out and kind of be the star product a little bit more, because when I look at this collection as a whole, there's nothing that is really a standout product for me. Every item in here kind of just feels like they're all equal components of the collection of a whole, but nothing really stood out to me as like the kind of shining star. And I know some people might disagree and think like not everything has to have like a standout product. I agree with that. Everything can be kind of equally balanced, but to me there's just like nothing that was the one like, oh, I got to have that product. Like that is the product for me. Moving on to the eyeliners, I definitely think for like the collector aspect of these, I am really glad to have both of these. I think they're so cute. I love that they did the eyeliners. They're kind of like wands, which I think really fit the theme super well and was very, very cute. I love the Glinda Wicked Witch kind of moment. I love the little toppers on here that you can remove. So if you don't want those, you can take them off and it still makes a very functional product. I will say, however, though, I would not recommend the Glinda eyeliner if you are wanting it for a functional product. If you are just wanting it to collect and just to have it and to have the two of them as like a pair, that is the only reason why I would recommend someone buying this product, because for the product itself, I did not like it. It did not show up at all when I was swatching it. It was not a very good product in my opinion. So if you're wanting something to work, I would skip on this one. Just save your money. I did, however, really enjoy the Wicked Witch one. This one applied really well. It's pretty standard black liquid liner in my opinion. I don't know if it's like the greatest thing in the world, but did it work and will I use it? Absolutely. So I do like this one, but the Glinda one really kind of let me down. Moving on to the blotting sheets, I really kind of think this was an interesting product to throw into this collection, but one that I just, for me personally, didn't enjoy. I don't have oily skin, so these aren't really something I think I'll get much use out of. I think they're cute, but I don't think they're so cute to the point that it warranted being in this collection. I'm sure a lot of people will disagree with me, but that is okay. I just would have rather had like another item to represent the scarecrow, maybe even like a bronzer or something. You know, like a straw bronzer kind of color would have been fun. That way, to me, it would have added a little bit more value to this collection, because when I really look at everything and I kind of like parse it all out into like, is it worth it for me or not? This is definitely one of the lower value items in my opinion. And then finally for the two lip products, so for the lip gloss, I feel like they could have gotten away with this one, but overall it just didn't like really impress me that much, and I felt like it was kind of weird having two kind of similar products like in theme wise but very different in function. Obviously with the lip set here, I think that like the ruby slippers, like it just made so much sense. I can see why they did this, but I felt like it was kind of weird having the two lip products here, and especially since I don't really think a lot of people would like functionally use this product. I think that this one was more, it fit the theme, but like the functionality wasn't quite there. Whereas this one, I feel like it kind of splits that line. It is a functional product that I do think a lot of people would wear, and I do think it gets across the vibe and the idea of the ruby slipper. So honestly, I kind of feel like I wish they would have just done this and then given us something else instead of this product. So I will mention that you can buy all of these items from Shein's website or from Sheglam's website. Now the prices do vary slightly per item. So on Shein's website, I actually noticed there were two different listings for the same exact collection. One of them was priced about $78.11, and the other one was priced $80.96. From the Sheglam website, the full price was $69.99. So for the blush product, the price on the Shein website was $5.19, and the price on the Sheglam website was $5.99. So only about 80 cents difference there. For the highlighter from Shein, it was $5.49. From Sheglam, it was $6.99. So a little bit of a steeper price difference there, but not a whole lot, but definitely cheaper on Shein. For the eyeshadow palette, the Shein price was $7.59, and it was $7.99 on Sheglam, so only about a 40 cents difference. Now the eyeliners was another kind of weird one. So on Shein, there were actually two different prices for the Glinda and the Wicked Witch eyeliner. So Glinda was $4.39 and Wicked Witch was $4.79. I'm not sure why those were different prices, but they were. And then on Sheglam, they were $5.99 each. Then for the blotting sheets on Shein was $1.99, whereas on Sheglam it was $3.99. Now the strange one for the lip gloss, I could not find this on Shein's website at all, so I do not know what it goes for. There was just not a listing for it, but on Sheglam it was $5.99. And finally for the glitter lip set on Shein it was $5.29 versus Sheglam's price was $8.99. So that one I definitely think has the highest price discrepancy between Shein and Sheglam. So those are kind of like all the weird pricing things, but the other thing that kind of threw me off was if I calculated the Sheglam prices per item, the price discrepancy was very large between whether you were to purchase the full set versus all of the items individually. Now, one thing with this set is we actually don't have like a little freebie item. Usually in the full sets with all the Sheglam collections, you'll get like a little bonus product or like a keychain or like a sticker sheet or some kind of little trinkety thing like that that you cannot buy separately. In this collection, I don't believe there was anything like that. So when I totaled up the price of all of the items from Sheglam separately, like all of the items, I got a total of $51.92. However, if you remember, the price for the full set from Sheglam was $69.99. So if you were to take into consideration that price difference from buying the full set versus buying the products individually, that would be like making the box, the collector box packaging difference be about $18.07 if you were to kind of break down the math that way. To me, that's kind of crazy for that price difference to kind of be like, well, the box is worth $18. I think that's kind of crazy. Once again, I think that like all the tariff stuff really kind of had all this pricing really messed up, because to me, that was very, very odd. It gets even odder because if I do the same kind of comparison with the Shein prices, now once again, remember the lip gloss was not on the website. So for the sake of calculation, I just gave it a $5 value because I do believe that's probably in line with what it would go for on the Shein website. So if I sub in that $5 for the lip gloss product that was missing, then I total up all the products individually on Shein, that gives you a total of $40.49. So that's about $11 cheaper, almost $12 cheaper compared to the Sheglam website. However, the prices for the full set on Shein were more than the Sheglam prices. I hope this is all making sense. I will have a chart with all the numbers on here so you guys can see what I'm talking about. So if I do the same consideration of the price of the products individually, subtracting that from the value of the full collection on Shein, that makes the box worth $40.47 for just the box price difference. If you were to purchase the set that had it listed at $80-ish, and then if you purchased the lower listing for about the $78 price, that would make the box about a $37.60 difference. So like I said, all of the pricing is kind of a mess with this collection. Like I said, I think it's probably has to do with a lot of like the tariff situation and all of that, because that definitely was the reason that Sheglam was not available to US customers for an extended period of time. They initially said on their website it was only going to be like a 2-week delay with products, but I think it was definitely longer than that. I think it was probably closer to like a month or two before products came back to being available to US residents. So the one last thing I wanted to take into consideration is, in the end, do I think these products are worth it? So for the price that I paid for my set was about $85.70. And if I count each of these products as like an individual product, and if I count this as one item and then everything else as one individual item, I have a total of 8 items. So if I break down the price per item, that makes it about $10.71 per item. Now, when I look at all of these and I look at these items individually, I'm like, okay, is this worth $10? Is this worth $10? Is this worth $10? So on and so forth. I do have to say, I really don't think a single one of these products, in my opinion, is worth almost $11 a piece for the price that I paid for it. Even if I were to break these down to, like, if I were to break each of these down into an individual item, let's see what the price breakdown of that would be. So if I break it down and break these into individual items, that would make it about $8.57 per item. Honestly, I just kind of feel like still, I don't know if any of these items on their own are worth that much broken down and looking at it in that way. So even though I'm a really, really big fan and I love collecting these type of things from Sheglam, this collection just was a little bit of a miss for me. I would probably rank this collection like a C+, just because I feel like value-wise, the prices were just kind of up there in my opinion. And like I said, I know the tariff stuff probably has a big play into all of this, but I am kind of let down that I just feel like the price that I paid for this, I don't feel like I have a whole lot to show for it. But of course, you guys know I am a really big makeup collector, and like just having stuff like this is really important to me. But do I think like the box on its own should warrant like a $37 to $40 difference of price? Absolutely not, especially with not having like a little special collector item in the set as well. I just think there's a lot of things, in my opinion, I probably would have changed in this collection, and I would have just gone a little bit of a different route for it. Like I said, I mentioned what I would do with the eyeshadow palettes. I think that for these, I really liked the idea of them, especially with them being like wands and stuff like that, but I would just have to improve this product and do something with it, because I really do not feel like this is worth anything, in my opinion. And again, I feel like the blotting product, I think it's cute, but for me, it's another one of those things that just has no value. Like these two items to me really don't have much of a value at all. Other than the lip liner in this set, I think that these two products just really don't have much of a value to me. So really what I'm left with is like a blush, a lip gloss, an eyeliner, a subpar eyeshadow palette, and then a highlighter. So I do honestly feel just a little bit let down with this collection. I do think it's really cute, but in the end, I just think that there have definitely been better collections from Sheglam in the past, and I'm looking forward to new ones in the future that maybe might have a little bit more value to it, in my opinion. So that is pretty much it, all of my thoughts for this collection. I really hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, please like and subscribe. You can follow me on social media. Links are below. And until my next video, I will talk to you guys later. Bye.